Okay. Hey everybody, Jen Bailey here. Super excited to have you guys on the Zoom tonight. I was going to say call. I guess it's a Zoom and a call. We're going to be doing what's called a basic roll call game plan. This basically is a monthly game plan that we're doing at the beginning of every single month to help strategize for the month. We've broken it up into two separate game plans. Tonight's is the basic one. It's more for newer BPs, not necessarily brand new, but just newer BPs or people that are wanting to do this spare time, not necessarily what we call a runner. If you know that you're, somebody that's needing to just fit it in the cracks and take it slow, this is for you. If you're wanting more and wanting a little more in depth, I'll be talking at the very end about what Thursday night's Zoom will be about, and that's the ultimate roll call game plan. But for tonight, I know some of you have the papers and some of you don't, and so we're just going to go with this and hope it all makes sense for everybody. You should have paper that looks like this, not the old one. It's a basic roll call game plan. And the point of this is to really focus on your personal activity. If you're newer or your spare time or whatever, you may not have a large team. So I kind of focused it in on people that are going for senior brand partner or director or even senior director. And then the higher ranks above that would probably be doing the ultimate game plan. So they probably won't be on this call. So the very first thing that we're going to talk about, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for those of you that don't have papers. I think this will help. Hang on one sec. Alrighty, can somebody give me a thumbs up if you can see the paper? Got it? Okay, great. So step one is deciding your realistic goals for the month. Basically, we're going to look at customer goals and your personal ranking goals. So number one customer goal for March, are you 3 or free qualified? Have you been 3 or free qualified? If you're not, how many do you need? There's a saying that Darren Kidd says, I think it's him that started it, you need to inspect what you expect. Okay, so that's a lot of what this is. We are looking down at our organization and our business and saying, where am I lacking and what do I need? And so first off, we need everybody to be 3 or free qualified. Every customer that we have, every ADO that we have going out underneath us brings us a paycheck, brings us money, and it brings solidity to our business. And so you're going to write in that slot how many you need. If you have 2, you need 1 more, then obviously you're going to write 1. You need 1 customer for this month, so it's giving you a tangible goal for the month. Your personal ranking goals. What rank are you aiming for this month? So if you're going for senior brand partner, write it down. I'm going for senior brand partner, director, senior director. And then break down exactly what you need to meet your goal. We all need to be anything other than a brand partner. You have to have your 3 active personal brand partners, 1 in each leg. And so if you already have those and maybe you're just not quite to senior brand or you're going for director or whatever, go ahead and write those active BPs that are in each leg. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the top of your legs. Those of you that have a few more people on your team, what I'm talking about is making sure that you have an active personal BP in each leg. Sometimes we get people placed underneath us. That doesn't count. It has to be somebody you sponsored, 1 in each leg. So if you have those, write those down so that you know you have them. And if you don't have them, leave it blank because that's your goal for this month. You need to go ahead and get those. If you have 1 BP, you're going to put a name in number 1, and then 2 and 3 are blank. That means by the end of the month, we need to fill those slots with some names. So how much total volume do you need to meet your goal? Well, I wrote the numbers on there. Senior brand partner, you need 1,500 total volume. Director, you need 4,500 total volume. Senior director, you need 12,500. Write the amount down in that slot. For those of you that want to understand more what's called the 60-40 rule and how your volume has to fall and all of that, that's the ultimate game plan Thursday night. We're going to go into more detail with that. But for now, I just want you to focus on the big number and then make sure that you are consistently talking with your upline leaders and SD and above to make sure that you are, doing things right as far as all those balances and stuff. We don't want you to get bogged down with all those details because you don't have time for that. But they can help you and make sure that you're getting the volume in the right place on your 3 legs. I hope that makes sense. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how you're doing with the 10 core commitments. So we've decided your goal for the month. We know what it is that you want to accomplish. You want to get your 3-year free and you want to rank advanced. But how are you going to do it? That's the big thing. Well, NERIUM has given us a job description. I love, I went to an NLA at the early January, and Dale Munger talked about how, you know, it's really sad that we tend to not look at our NERIUM business like a real job. And he said, you know, if we were at a regular, whether it be a corporate job or working at McDonald's, wherever, any kind of regular, W-2 type job, you're going to have requirements that you're expected to do for that job. And if you don't do them, guess what? You're not going to keep your job. And so, I love looking at our 10 core commitments as being job requirements. And so I also want to preface this with saying that, we always talk about how when people come into this, they can go at their own pace. And that is true, okay? Everybody can go at their own pace. This is your business. And if you want to take 3 years to get to Lexus, truly, that is totally your decision and your dealio. But if you want to do it in 3 months, you may need to do a little bit more than just spare time, And so these things that are here, the 10 core commitments, these are what corporate, Jeff Olson set up for you to have the most amount of success. And so the closer you can come to nailing all of these 10 core commitments, the closer you're going to be to actually meeting the goals that the company has set up in a reasonable time frame. But if you can't fit all this stuff into your life and you need to make adjustments, go for it. But don't just scratch the whole thing. As I go through these things, adjust it for you. If you can't be at every single NERIUM U every week at your friend's house, we'll say, you know what, I'm going to commit to being to 2 out of the 4 this month. And that's going to be my commitment. And the point is making commitments and then sticking to it and having goals and sticking to your plan and your vision to meet your goals. And if you do that consistently, you're going to grow. Even if you grow at a slower rate than some of the other people, that's okay. But at least you're moving forward and you're not just doing this whole thing piecemeal and trying to figure it out. So don't just chuck this whole 10 core thing. Let's look at it. Let's break it down and you set your reasonable goals for yourself. So you'll notice this looks a little different than the old papers we used to use. Basically, each one, you're going to answer the question yes or no, and some of them have secondary questions, and then you're going to rate yourself just on that particular question, that particular core commitment. You're going to rate how you're doing. So, for example, number 1, completed brand partner training. If you have completed your new brand partner training, then you're going to click yes. Okay, sorry guys, we got somebody making noise, and I got to mute it, and I don't know how to do it from here. Give me a sec, guys. I had everybody muted and it keeps unmuting people. Let me allow them to mute. Okay. Okay. If you notice that you're unmuted at any point, please mute yourself so that there's no distraction and I don't have to do that again. I don't know why it does that. Anyway, so if you've completed your brand partner training, then you're obviously going to click yes. And if you're done with all of it, go ahead and rate yourself. You did 10. It's all done. Awesome. If you have not completed it, give yourself a goal date, okay? Even if it's a month out, give yourself a goal date. And, keep in mind, it's only an hour and a half long total. Like all the little modules are only an hour and a half long. And so it's not that big of a deal to go ahead and get it done. And then if you haven't done it in a while, maybe go back and redo it. Commit to going back and just going over it again, hitting the reset button. Some of you may be wanting to restart your business. Maybe you've been out for a little bit and you're coming back in. Do it again and then rate yourself a 10 because you did it twice. Number 2, are you doing your 2 exposures a day? Yes or no? If you're not doing them, why? And this is important. I want you to really evaluate what it is that's holding you back. Is it time? Is it fear? If it's time, then either figure out some strategies with your upline on how to make time and how to, really realistically carve out time for yourself, or set yourself a different goal. Like I mentioned before, if 2 a day is too much for you, then say, I'm going to do 2 a day 3 times a week, or I'm going to do 1 a day 5 days a week, whatever. Set your own goal for that. Just know that you're going to go a little slower if you do things that way, but at least you're showing some commitment. And at least, when things start to happen, maybe you'll want to up those exposures. Once you start having fun and realizing that it's fun to get those customers and it's fun to change people's lives, then maybe you'll want to increase those exposures. And again, rate yourself, because you're going to go back next month and you're going to do this again, and you're going to rate yourself again. And your goal is to get yourself moving up that number scale. Not everybody's going to be perfect 10 every single month, but as long as you're moving forward and growing, that's what we want. That's the whole point of this roll call game plan, is to teach people to assess and to grow. So number 3, are all your bottles out? Are they all being circulated? And we're going to talk in a minute about why that is so important. So how many are out and how many do you have at home? Fill those slots in. By the way, I meant to say this at the very beginning. Do not feel like you need to fill this out right now while I'm talking. I would rather you just listen, look at the paper and observe, and then later, once we've gone through everything, then go ahead and fill out your papers, because I really want your attention to be able to be focused on what I'm saying and not on thinking of your business and thinking of whether you've done this or done that. I should have said that at the beginning. So anyway, bottles out, how many at home? And again, rate yourself. How consistent have you been with keeping your bottles out on a regular basis? The next one, weekly RRP or market party. Are you attending a weekly RRP or market party, or even a Zoom? We've been doing these Zoom parties, as a team, and they're wonderful. We don't want them to replace the home RRPs, but they can be included too, just as an option to make sure that you're getting involved with your prospects out there, talking to people and getting them in front of the NERIUM experience. Are you attending a weekly NERIUM U? This can be either going to someone's house and doing it as a group with people in your area, or it can be watching it at your own house or hosting one at your own house. Sometimes we've heard of people who will rotate houses, and one will take it one week, another will take it another week, or they'll do it once a month at somebody's house, and then the rest of the weeks they watch it on their own. Figure out what's going on in your area, talk to your upline, and find out what's going on in your area, so that you can plug into that. Are you registered, and right where your NERIUM, your local NERIUM U is. And again, ask your upline if you're not sure. Are you registered for a monthly regional? Find out where your local regional is, when it is, and go ahead and get your tickets early. We've had several times over the past year or two with our Atlanta regionals where it sells out and there's no tickets. And so make sure and be on top of that and clear your schedule. Know ahead of time. Go ahead and get the schedule for the next few months. And this is really important for people like you guys that are busy and spare timers and trying to fit this into the cracks. I tell people, I understand if on some of these other things you need to tweak and you don't have quite enough time or whatever, but regionals to me are a non-negotiable. Okay, you need to plan everything around your regionals and your and national conference, which I'll talk about in a second. Again, as I mentioned before, this is a job. And this is your job description. It may be a part-time job, maybe a spare time job, but it's still a job. And that training is invaluable. And the connection that you have with the people at the regional and at conference is invaluable. And if your boss, like Monica said on the call yesterday, if your boss were to tell you that you had to go on a training trip, in April, and it was going to be this weekend, and here's where you needed to be, you'd be there because you wouldn't want to lose your job. You've got to take this as seriously as that. And so the regional should be in your area, shouldn't be more than a couple hours drive. We drive 2 to 2.5 hours every month to go to our regional in Atlanta. And we just go and we come back same day. It's just a day trip. So go ahead and make that happen every month, guys. And then conference, same thing. I won't talk long about conference. I will just say it'll change your life. I haven't met a single person who regretted going to conference ever. And it's worth it for your business. And it's worth it for you personally. And you're setting a standard. I heard it said long time ago, if you want to be an NMD, you act like an NMD. Okay, an NMD would not miss conference. If you have a little team, even if it's just one person on your team, they're going to look at you to what they're going to do. If you decide not to go, they're probably going to say, she's not going, so it must not be that important, so I'm not going. Those that make it a priority and go, that's where the traction and the momentum starts happening. And that's when your business begins to blow up, because then all the little people under you that are watching you, they're like children. You know, you have children that you're needing to take care of. They're going to do what you do. And so please make it a priority to be at conference. It's twice a year. It is not something you have to do every weekend. It's twice a year. So make that commitment. You know, conference in April in St. Louis. Go ahead and start looking at flights now. Go ahead and start saving money. Find out who you can stay with at a hotel. Sometimes you can do this pretty cheap. You can go to the grocery store. It's what we've done. Go to the grocery store there in the area and get snacks. Keep them in your hotel room. Anyway, so that's all I'm going to say on that. And then next one is, are you doing personal development? Super important that you're always working on developing you. Mine right now is this John C. Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Some other people have been reading The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster, which I've heard is amazing, and I can't wait to read that one. But even if it's not necessarily business focused, you know, something that you're doing that is working on you and your confidence skills and your, you know, facing your fears, you know, that kind of thing that's going to help you in your business. So make sure that you're committed to doing something like that. Jeff asks us to do 10 pages of a good book a day. Everybody can find the few minutes to do 10 pages a day. Put it next to your bed, read it in the morning, or read it at night before you go to bed, but get it done. And then, oh shoot, sorry guys, hang on. Okay, and then do you have a workout partner? Everybody should have a workout partner, somebody that they're connecting with on a regular basis. That can be once a week, that can be every day, that's totally up to you. But it's just somebody that is a friend. In NERIUM, it can be cross-line. It doesn't usually work to have it be like your spouse or your sponsor. Really, it's been working really well to have it be cross-line, where it's somebody that's not on your team or above you on your team. And that way you can really spur one another on, and you're not financially vested in each other at all. We've had some really neat relationships develop because of workout partners. And so if you need one, reach out to me or to one of your uplines and say, you know what, I really do want a workout partner. Even though I'm going to be taking this slow, can we find somebody that can match my pace and that we can kind of stay connected and keep each other accountable? So that's important too. And rate yourself. Remember to keep rating yourself. And then last but certainly not least, will you be here a year from now? We all know that, you know, when you come into NERIUM, that's one of the first things you hear, hopefully on your Fast Start plan, is just that, you know, we ask that you make a commitment to be here a year from now. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. We don't do things the way a lot of other companies do. It's a garden, and things are going to take time. And so we just ask that you go ahead and make that commitment in the beginning. And if every month you're making that commitment that I'll be here a year from now, then you're always going to be here. You know what I mean? And so we want you to be here because we know those that stick it out and learn and grow are the ones that make it. So let me move to the next page. Okay, so step 3, set your parties goal. On that slot at the top, my rank goal is, put your rank goal, senior brand partner, director, senior director. And then if you'll look to the right in the orange, it tells you how many parties you need to have that month on your team in order to achieve that goal. And a party has to have 4 new guests to count as a party. I mean, you can have 3 and it's still going to be great for your business. But if you really want to hit that rank that you're going for, you need to make sure that you're hitting 4 people for every one of those parties. So for example, if you put, you know, senior brand partner in that slot and you say, I need 5 parties, and let's say one of those parties you didn't have quite enough guests, throw in a sit down, you know, add in extra people. Just make sure that you're doing 20 people. See what I'm saying? 5 parties. 4 new guests at each party, that's 20 people. So just make sure for that month that your team is getting in front of 20 people. And I've made it pretty simple here for you to break this down. As you're scheduling these parties with your team, and you want to do this at the very beginning of the month, we're talking like tomorrow, you need to be on this. Go ahead and schedule out your parties. I almost put a calendar page in this game plan, but I ended up not doing it. So print out a free calendar page from online and, you know, write these parties down on this paper and then put them on the calendar too. And so you're going to write down the party date. You're going to write down who's hosting the party. If it's yourself, then your name, of course. And if it's somebody on your team, or maybe a friend is offering to host a party for you, you're going to put their name down. And then line up your expert. Do that quickly because a lot of the leaders get booked up and you might not be able to get them. So if you want me to close your party, get on it. Call me up, text me, message me. Say, I want you, Jen Bailey, next Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Can you Skype in? And if I'm free, I'll do it. And then after the party, basically you're going to put how many guests showed up. If you had one guest, then you can't click the counts button because it didn't count. Now, the one person is still important, don't get me wrong, but you just need to notice that you need to add in some more activity to cover the fact that there weren't quite enough guests at that party. And of course, this isn't an exact science. This is just generalities, just based on some statistics that some of the leaders have figured out over the past 4 years that the company's been around. These numbers work most of the time. And then if you'll notice over here on the side, I put, SVP. If you have, there's your 5 parties, there's SVP. There's your 10 parties, director, and 15 is for senior director. And so you want to fill that up as soon as possible. Don't wait till later in the month. Go ahead and start calling your team, and you as well. Go ahead and start scheduling those parties now and get them on the books so you know, and leave yourself room, because if you don't quite have enough guests and you have to throw in a Zoom party or you have to throw in a sit down, you want to make sure and leave yourself room to do that so you're not trying to cram it all in at the end of the month. Okay, step 4, realizing the value of the product sampling machine. I love this so much. This is going to show you the value of those bottles that you have sitting on your shelf. So I did one, I'm going to pull up my paper here. I did one for a sample. So basically, I just did 6, okay? Because that's an average number that, sometimes people will have as many as, oh gosh, you wouldn't even believe me if I told you. There's been some that have had quite a few bottles sitting on their shelf. And then some people have none, and kudos to you guys. That's awesome. But I picked 6. I figured that was a good middle ground. So 6 bottles at home times 5 people, okay? And the reason it's 5 is we figure each bottle for 5 days is sampling about 5 to 6 people, but I was just kind of going on the lower end just to leave some extra room there. So I did 6 people times 6 bottles times 5 people is 30 faces. So the industry average says that 1 in 10 sign up as VPs. So that gives you 3 new VPs. If it's 30 faces divided by 10, that's 3 new VPs. Let's assume that those people came in at a silver pack, $12.50. You can adjust this if you want to. I just picked silverback. That's $37.50 in volume. Next line, 1 in 3 sign up as customers, okay? That's 10 new customers. If you sampled 30 faces, that's 10 new customers. 10 times a complete ultimate combo pack, because ideally we want to get everybody on all 4 products. That's 2,100 in volume. Okay, so you add those 2 numbers together, the $37.50, the $37.50 that would be right here, and the 2,100, and you end up with $58.50. Now, I just want you to remember, before I go further, I'm going to go back to this page right here. How much total volume do you need to meet your goal? Okay, 1,500 was for senior brand partner. 4,500 was for director. Now go back over here. What did I say? $58.50 is sitting on your shelf in 6 bottles. Okay? 6 bottles. Just get 6 bottles out and keep them out, and you have potentially $5,800 worth of volume to bring into your business. That is huge, guys, huge. Think about that. And now that's just you. I want you to think for a minute. That's just you. Imagine that you have a little team and your team's doing the same thing, okay? And they're putting their little 6 bottles out. How quickly do you think you could get to car with not much effort, okay? I say not much effort. I know getting the bottles out can be a little difficult or whatever, having to drop them off, pick them up, but come on, compared to what you do at your regular job, it's a piece of cake. And so imagine having a couple people like that, you would be able to be in a Lexus pretty quick. If we can get everybody getting those bottles off the shelf and into people's hands. They say 8 out of every 10 brand partners in the company tried the product first, whether it was a sample or whether they were customer first. They tried it first and put the skin on their, the cream on their skin. So it's super important that we're getting those bottles out and getting the cream onto people's faces. And then here's the fun part. So you had 10 new customers and 3 new VPs. That's 13 new people that you've brought into your organization, whether they're customer or VP. What do we get from NERIUM when we bring in new people? Free NERIUM gives back bottles. What do we do with those bottles? We drop them back into this machine. So next month, we have 13 bottles. This month we had 6. Next month we have 13. Imagine the volume that we can generate. We can double it next month, okay? So see how quickly this can grow and build super fast if we just buckle down and get the sampling going. So second part of the page, make a wait list for your bottles and map out the month. This is going to be some beginning work on the beginning end of the month, but it's going to pay off at the end. Don't wait until mid-month to do all this stuff. That's when you're going to find yourself scrambling and discouraged at the end of the month because you didn't meet your goals. If you just take a day or two at the beginning of the month and map out what you're going to do, plan out those parties, map out where every single bottle is going to go, then you're going to just follow a plan. It's going to be super simple, and you're going to be able to squeeze it into the cracks. And so your job over these next couple of days is to pick up the phone, okay? Picking up the phone is what's going to make you your paycheck with NERIUM. That is your job. Picking up the phone and talking to people. We can train till I'm blue in the face, but if you don't pick up the phone and call people, you're not going to make any money. You're just not. And so you've got to pick up the phone, and you're going to start your wait list. And you're going to tell your friends, hey, I've got free samples. I'd love to get one in your hands. When can we schedule a time to have you pick it up or me drop it off or whatever? And then you're going to write it down. Okay. So let's say I have 3 bottles sitting on my shelf. Okay. So I have my paper sitting in front of me. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to call up Alicia Jones. You see my example there. And I'm going to say, are you willing to try blah, 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 whatever. She says yes. I say, great. Schedule the drop off 3/2, March 2nd. Didn't happen. That's what, today? Is that today? Today's the 2nd, I think. So let's say it didn't happen today. We rescheduled for tomorrow. I wrote in actual drop off. I gave it to her tomorrow. I'm kind of talking ahead here. I make sure you're doing an expectations call. If you don't know what that is, ask your upline. Has to do with setting the expectation for them. Super important that they have the expectations set properly for their trial, or they will hand you that bottle back and they will say, this didn't work for me. You have to make sure the expectations are set. Allow some of the leaders to do an expectation call for you, just so that you can get comfortable with what you should be saying. And some people just do them anyway, even though they are comfortable. They just like doing those expectation calls and getting the prospect comfortable with the 3-way call. It works great. So go ahead and write that down. You'll see that I put a little check mark and then put my own name. I was just using it as an example, but if it was me, I would use somebody else, obviously, and just jot the name of who did the expectation call. And then write down when you're going to pick it up, because when you hand it to them, you're going to want to schedule when you're going to pick it up. Okay, I'm dropping this off today. I need to pick it up on Saturday or whatever, 5 days later. And then obviously we need to follow up with a 3-way call. This is our system. This is our exposure process, okay? We're piquing their interest. We're dropping off bottles. We're picking up bottles, etc. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to call the next person, number 2, and I'm going to ask them the same thing. I'm going to try to drop off the bottle tomorrow or the next day. And then person number 3, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to call them tonight, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to drop off a bottle tomorrow or the next day. Go ahead. And then what happens? This is what most people do. They stop. They have 3 bottles. They say, okay, well, I've got my 3 bottles out. I'll just wait till I get them back to figure out who they're going to next. Wrong. You want to have a wait list. Wait list creates urgency, okay, and a sense of urgency for them. And it gives you a plan of knowing, like I said before, so that you're not scrambling. Let's say you have some kind of an emergency in a couple of days and you're not able to go back and start calling people again. But what if you have a plan? You already know that you're dropping the bottle off to Joe. Let's say number 4 that I called today is Joe. And Joe says, yeah, I'd love a sample. And I say, great, I've got them all out right now. I'm going to put you on my wait list and I'll let you know when we can connect. And Joe's like, oh, wait list. And basically, then I'm going to call him in Saturday, Sunday, whenever I pick up that bottle from Alicia. And then I'm going to say, okay, I've got a bottle ready for you now. I'm ready to drop it off. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to go ahead and set that up, and you're going to fill the whole thing. I gave you a page and a half for you to fill up. Okay, if you have 3 bottles, you're going to multiply 3 times 4 weeks in the month, or 4 times the 5 days. You see what I'm saying? So for every, how do I say that? However many bottles you have, you want them to be out for the entire month. So you can do the math and figure out how many people you need to line up. It's actually up here. That's why I knew I was off base here. It's the 30 faces. So if you have 6 bottles, it's 30 faces. So you should have 30 names, okay? And so if you need more room, that's why I said at the bottom, use another paper if you have to. But the point is, map it out. I'm harping a little too much on this one. Map it out. This is what's going to get you moving forward. Okay, and then step 5. This is the last part, and really super important part. It's all important. But evaluate your 10 in play. We want you to fill the funnel now. This is really important that I said this already earlier. You have to do the work now so that at the end of the month, things happen smoothly and you already have Class A prospects ready to go and possibly making a decision. If you wait till the last 5 days of the month to suddenly scramble and try to find some people to talk to so that you can hit your rank goal, it's not going to happen. And they're going to feel pressured and you're going to come across desperate. But if you take the time now to evaluate who you've got in your funnel and who your top 10 people are, then you have the whole month to fit it into the cracks and to gently talk to them and send them a video here and there when you're on a break or when you have a few minutes or when you're in the bathroom, for goodness sakes. I mean, we can do our business anywhere, really, honestly. And so you want to keep track of your top 10. It's really important that you stay in connection with your upline SD leader with this page right here. Okay, I cannot stress enough that you are not in this business alone, okay? We're here to help you, and if you aren't sure what to send somebody and what to say, and you feel like you've hit a brick wall with your, Auntie Lou, you don't know what else to do with her, you call your upline, you say, Jen, I need help. My Auntie Lou, I sent her this video, but then now she's not answering me, and here's what she said last, I just don't know what to do. And then I can help. I can look at your list, your paper, and I can help you figure out where things are falling out, where things are you're hitting brick walls, okay? And I can help troubleshoot that for you and tell you what to do next, okay? And so you're just going to write, just like I said on here, you're going to write their name and their background. How did you pique their interest? You're going to use a third-party tool. This is our exposure process, guys, right here. This is what they teach from stage. You're going to go ahead and schedule the follow-up, okay? You're going to write down who your expert is for your 3-way call. And then I like to always leave a place to write the possible holdups. What are things that are keeping that person from making a decision? And a lot of times it's time and money. And so make sure that you mirror match them with somebody that can help with those particular holdups. And remember, too, that just because somebody goes through this process one time does not necessarily mean they're going to pop out the other end of BP. Remember, we said this is a garden, so sometimes this takes time. I don't know how long it took you to decide to join NERIUM. For me, it was pretty quick. From the first moment of exposure until I joined was definitely less than a month. I'd say probably a week or two, maybe. But for some people, it takes months of them, really assessing this and looking at everything and watching you or whatever. That's okay. But the people we want on this list, though, on this top 10 list, we really, really want this to be people that are actively interested, that are really not blowing you off. They're not. That's our goal. We want to end up with always having 10 in play that are actively looking and actively watching the things you send them and getting on the phone calls and that kind of thing. And so this is going to change. It's going to morph even through the month. And so you can use the back of the paper if you want. You can print a second paper if you want. But just know that you're going to be changing that and adding it. So let me get out of here. Okay. And then I had a couple little notes that I wanted to say at the end here. So basically, like I said, adjusting your goals to fit your pace, but be realistic about what your goals are. And if you have any questions or anything like that, please reach out to your upline. They can help with all of the details of this. I'm super excited about March. I'm super excited about this whole year. We've got so many wonderful things in store for us with conference coming up, new products, new back office stuff, new training, lots of things. And so if you want more out of this training, be sure to be on the Thursday night Zoom, the ultimate roll call game plan. I will be going into major details, but I'm just going to give a disclaimer. If you get overwhelmed easily and you need to just get into your activity and not do that, please don't get on the Thursday Zoom. I don't want to overwhelm anybody or make anybody feel like they're, not, living up to what they need to. If you'll just follow what we did today in this game plan, you're going to do great and you're going to grow and your business is going to grow, whatever pace you want. But if you are wanting more details about how to break things down, I'd be happy to have you on Thursday. But I appreciate you guys so much for participating tonight. And each month as we do this, we're going to learn, you know, things we can do better and things we can add in. So I hope that you'll join us next month at the beginning of April for April's roll call game plan. And stay connected with your upline. That's the last thing I'm going to leave you with. Stay connected all month long with your upline and let them help you meet your goals, because that's what we're here for. So that's it. Thank you guys so much. Love you all.